Welcome back to another episode of 40 Facts About the 40K Universe. I am your host, Gersh1, and you are watching One Mind Syndicate. Today we continue talking about Eldar and Space Marines as we get into the Eldar versus the Space Marines. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. We post Warhammer 40K content every single day, and you can thank our patrons on Patreon for the daily 40K lore. If you guys want to support us, jump on over to Patreon, link in the description. But with that said, let's get into the Eldar versus the Space Marines. Conflict between Space Marines and Craftworld Eldar can be traced as far back as the Great Crusade, most notably the meeting between Fulgrim, Primarch of the Emperor's Children Legion, and the Eldar Farseer, Eldrad Ulthran, upon the Eldar Maiden World of Tarsis. Both leaders had come in peace to discuss the Imperial compliance of the planet, and Fulgrim's willingness to ignore Imperial doctrines on the matter, and to leave the Eldar Maiden World unconquered by the Imperium. But the main issue that Eldrad was attempting to pursue was that the Imperial War Master Horus had turned to chaos, and sought to betray the Emperor of Mankind. However, Eldrad was unaware that Fulgrim had already been corrupted by contact with a Slaaneshi demon blade that had been recovered from the world of Loran. The supposedly peaceful meeting soon turned into a bloody battle when Ulthran sensed that the Emperor's children had already been corrupted by She Who Thirsts. Being that Fulgrim was unaware of the existence of the chaotic taint within himself or his Astartes, or even what chaos was at the time, the Ulthway Eldar's actions were seen as a betrayal and great insult to the offer of friendship and peace that Fulgrim had offered them with the Imperium of Man. Henceforth, mankind and Eldar have been at nearly open war since the days of the Horus Heresy. Decades after the colonization of Baran, the Eldar of Bael'tan arrived to find their original Exodite colony completely wiped out by orcs, and their world infested with greenskins and humans. Filled with a burning desire for vengeance, the Fire Dragon Exarch, Marion, led a campaign against the feral orcs of Baran, driving them from ancient Eldar sites deep in the forests. Unable to face the Eldar in battle, the orcs began a mass exodus from the forest that brought them into furious conflicts with the human Baran siege masters and their fortress cities. As the colony cities came under even more intense assault, the defenders realized their position was ultimately hopeless if they did not receive support. The planetary governor Asabera dispatched what reserves he had from his capital city of Endera to the most isolated colonies, but he quickly realized that this was only a delaying measure at best. He had no option but to call upon the Raven Guard on their moon of Coron for aid. Shadow Captain Moradius chose not to deploy to the embattled fortress city, as his forces were too few to effectively aid in the defense of so many isolated sieges. Captain Moradius was more concerned with what was driving the orcs from the forest than he was with the actual feral orcs. Determined to discover the cause of the orc attacks, the Raven Guard returned to Baran, making only brief contact with the governor before they struck out to the deepest, wildest sections of Baran's forests. As they searched the forest for signs of orcs, the Raven Guard discovered every greenskin settlement completely destroyed, every lair rooted out, and there was barely any orcs remaining to be found. Something had destroyed the orcs' camps and driven them from the forests. Captain Moradius knew that such spontaneous, yet orchestrated activity across the entire planet was not likely to have been the result of the orcs' own infighting. With little else to discover in the forests, Moradius recalled his scout teams and took his warriors into the Vultus Plains, a barren region of the steppe plains where even the orcs did not establish settlements, choosing instead to roam the plains riding giant boars, squigots, and other creatures as warring nomadic tribes. After a week of hard marching across the plains, the Raven Guard at last encountered the orcs, but Captain Moradius was not seeking to drive yet more orcs towards the fortress city, and so broke off contact after a brief skirmish. After withdrawing from combat with the nomadic greenskins, Moradius ordered his scout marines to shadow the orcs and watch for signs of the force that had driven the orcs from the forests. Days later, the scouts reported back that the greenskins were under attack. Without delay, the Raven Guard rushed to the orcs' tribe's location aboard 6 Thunderhawk gunships. Despite their haste, the orcs were completely wiped out by the time they arrived. The Raven Guard instead came face to face with the Eldar of Bael'tan. Well versed in the slippery nature of the Eldar, Moradius ordered the immediate assault, striking the Eldar forces rapidly and reaping a heavy toll in Xeno lives. The Eldar had apparently not planned on engaging the local Imperial forces so soon, and certainly had not counted on the presence of Space Marines. For hours, the Astartes and Eldar fought running battles as the Space Marines slowly began to outnumber the Xeno forces, striking at them from all sides until the Xenos at last fell back to a circle of standing stones, ancient monuments of the days of the Eldar Empire's rule over Baran. Resolving to crush the Eldar army decisively, the Raven Guard committed to the attack, but this was what the Eldar had wanted. As the Astartes closed in on the remaining Eldar forces, webway gates opened up all around the ring of the standing stones. The Raven Guard force found itself encircled by the entire Eldar sword wing that had been rampaging across the surface of Baran. Though they fought bravely, the Space Marines held out for only a few hours before they were utterly exterminated. The Eldar managed to open an ancient webway gate on Baran's plain, from which the Eldar Titans could emerge to join the battle. The defenders of Baran were swept from the world, which was reclaimed by the Eldar, though the Imperium and the Raven Guard vowed to retake it. Many years later, the Space Marines would get a chance at vengeance against the Baeltan craft world, when an emissary was sent to the Imperial world of Comrath to enter negotiations with its planetary governor for the return of an ancient, eldritch artifact from the tomb of one of the Ultramarines' most lauded heroes, Captain Orar. This artifact was known as the Scepter of Calixian. When the Imperial noble refused his request, the Eldar emissary grew angry, and soon his pleas turned to threats of violence. The planetary governor refused to be cowed by the arrogance of Xenos, and had the Eldar executed on the spot. However, the governor had foresight to heed the Eldar's threats and request aid from the Ultramarines. Eldar from the Alatok and Yandan craft world then proceeded to assault the planet of Comrath to recover the Eldar artifact within Orar's sepulchre. Orar was a great Ultramarine hero in the aftermath of the Horus Heresy, and the chapter master, Marnius Calgar, vowed not a single alien would breach the sanctity of his tomb. For the first time since the Battle of Macragge, Calgar led his entire chapter to war. The Eldar descended upon the sepulchre to find it held against them by the Ultramarines. Eldar aspect warriors and guardians darted towards the main gates of the great edifice that was Orar's tomb, as grav tanks and artillery engines battered the Imperial defenders. On Calgar's command, the Ultramarines emerged from cover and scoured the invaders from the sepulchre steps with disciplined bolter volleys. The Eldar fell back, only to find their lines of retreat cut off by assault marines and land speeders. Eldar leaders emerged from cover and rallied the trapped first wave, only to fall to sniper fire as the Ultramarine scouts made their presence known. And although the initial Eldar assault failed, for an entire day and night they continued to attack. Though they mustered every arcane science at their command, they could not overcome the tactical brilliance of Marnius Calgar and his Ultramarines. The following day, a fresh assault swept onto the great stairs of the sepulchre, led by a colossal figure wreathed in flame, an avatar of Kana Mencha Kane, the Eldar god of war. Heavy weapons fire seemed only to anger the creature, and the Ultramarines' battle line buckled beneath its onslaught. So Calgar had no choice but to issue a challenge himself. The fiery god bellowed with fury, its first blow missing the Ultramarines' chapter master by a hair's breadth. The second tore plates from Calgar's armor. A third bit deep into his shoulder, driving the chapter master to one knee. But the fourth slammed into the armored palm of Calgar's left hand. Rising up, Calgar struck with all his strength, bringing his other gauntlet around in a mighty arc that punched clean through the molten ichor of the Avatar's torso. With the fall of their war god, the Eldar lost all heart and retreated. Some fled without heed, while others fell back in good order. But all the Xenos retreated into the darkness. Despite overwhelming odds, once again the Ultramarines had emerged victorious. But in his wisdom, Calgar knew that the Eldar would return for the Scepter of Calixian. So it was that Calgar informed Comrath's governor that the Calixian scepter would be removed from Orar's sepulchre to Macragge, where it could be properly defended. Many years later, the Eldar would feel the fury of another Space Marine chapter, as Captain Matrain was charged by Commander Dante of the Blood Angels with the destruction of the Eldari raiders who were assaulting Imperial commerce from a fortress making use of Eldari anti-gravitic technology hidden in the toxic atmosphere of the gas giant called Melionath. Making use of the chapter's entire existing fleet of Storm Ravens and Thunderhawk gunships, Matrain launched an airborne assault that had no equal in the chapter's long history. Storm ravens cut through the blades of anti-aircraft fire to disgorge their cargoes of assault squads and terminators directly onto the floating fortress docking platforms. These Astartes secured the landing zone for heavily armored vehicles like Land Raiders and Predators, which were delivered by a full-on wave of Thunderhawk transports. As the battle then unfolded through the Eldar fortress hangars and maintenance shafts, the overwhelming firepower brought to bear by the Blood Angels was able to sight through the arcane traps and dishonorable defense systems erected by the Eldar Corsairs. Once they realized that they had no chance to stop the human assault, the Xenos abandoned the fortress, although not before sabotaging its gravitic nullification technology. The Blood Angels were forced to retreat as the fortress was sucked down into the gas giant's grasping depths. Only the incredible skill displayed by the Blood Angels' gunship pilots, who fearlessly plunged into the depths of Melionet's gravity well to rescue their battle brothers, prevented what became a famous victory for the chapter from ending in a monumental failure. The Blood Angels would once again find themselves at odds against the Eldar during the vaults of Pantrax, when in search for a cure for the Blood Angel's genetic flaw, Brother Corbulo discovers a repository of archaeal tech from the Dark Age of technology on the world of Pantrax III. Unfortunately, this is controlled by Craftworld Alitok. 3 whole companies of Blood Angels, including the Terminators of the first company, were assigned to seize the vaults from the Xeno interlopers. A fierce battle erupts through the tech vaults and catacombs of Pantrax III. Although the Blood Angels were the ultimate victors, the Farseer commanding the Alitok Eldar sacrificed himself to destroy the very records of advanced genetic manipulation techniques that Corbulo had sought. The search for the cure of the Blood Angel's flaw continued. And those were 40 facts on the Eldar versus the Space Marines. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, share it with your friends on Facebook, Twitter, whatever social media you guys use. It helps out the channel when you do so. What's interesting about the Space Marines versus the Eldar is that you don't normally see this type of all-out war. Like, you'll see small skirmishes between Space Marines and Eldar, but for the most part, you're more than likely going to read a war story where they fought together for a common goal, or at least they fought alongside each other because their goal kind of was to destroy either an Orc horde or a Necron horde or something like that. Most of the time you're going to hear that, and I'm talking about Eldar Craft World. Harlequins and the Dark Eldar are completely different, but most of the time you're going to see that the Eldar will more than likely fight the Imperium, the Imperial Guard, more so than the Space Marines. I think part of that has to do with the fact that the Eldar, even though they're very arrogant, they understand that Space Marines are tough. Space Marines will destroy you, so they will try their best not to mess with a force that is as tactical and as strong as Space Marines. They'll mess with the Imperial Guard, no problem, because they're just squishy humans. But when you're dealing with the best of the best that the Imperium has to offer, they usually tend to stay away. That's why you will find more wars or battles, usually around like kill team size between the Eldar. Very rare that you will find like big stories that we talked about today, where an entire craft world will fight against Space Marines. So it's interesting. If you guys have any other suggestions for other versus videos or any other topics, comment down below. We read the comment section every single day, and we base our videos off of what you comment. So thank you if you guys are giving us suggestions. And don't forget, we have a Patreon. A simple $1 a month helps us create more videos for you guys. And that's it. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. This was Gersh1 with One Mind Syndicate, signing out.
Always used to put my freedom first in any situation.